Good morning. So today's session we are going to continue answering to university question paper January 2021. Yesterday we have in the last video we have discussed module 4 and now I am going to discuss module 5, that is dynamics itself, module 5. And the first question in module 5, question number 19a. Now read the question. This will also be given in the description box. A flywheel rotates with constant retardation. Due to braking in the first 10 seconds, it made 300 revolutions. At t is equal to 7.5 seconds, its angular velocity was 40 pi radian per second. Determine the value of constant retardation, the total time taken to come to rest, and total revolutions made till it comes to rest. So let us go through the question. A flywheel is rotating with constant retardation and we are given the data. In the first 10 seconds it made 300 revolutions, and when the time was 7.5 seconds its angular velocity was 40 pi radians. So these are the data given to us. We are asked to find value of retardation alpha, the time taken for the flywheel to come to rest, and the total revolutions made by it until it comes to rest. So it's a direct problem based on the constant acceleration formulas. So first one, let us come here. At t is equal to 10 seconds, it made 300 revolutions. So revolutions theta is nothing but the angular displacement. It is given as 300 revolutions. 300 revolutions means we have to convert everything into radians, velocity in radian per second and acceleration radian per second square. So 300 revolutions correspond to 1 radian is 1 revolution is 2 pi radians, full rotation. So 300 into 2 pi, it is 600 pi radians. So theta we have got in radians, and time taken at 10 seconds, t is equal to 10 seconds. So we have the expression for angular displacement. So we have to s is equal to ut plus half at square. When we come to rotational motion, it will be corresponding to s, it will be theta omega 0 t plus half alpha t square, where omega 0 is the initial angular velocity of the flywheel. We don't know whether it is starting from rest or not. It is not given in the question. So let us assume it starts with initial angular velocity, that is equal to omega 0. Let us substitute. We have given theta. So 600 pi is equal to omega 0 into time, 10 seconds. And this alpha is also not known, half alpha into 10 square. So from this I can write omega 0 plus 5 alpha is equal to 60 pi. This is equation 1. Get the relation connecting initial angular velocity and alpha. Next, second condition given. When time is 7.5 seconds, its velocity is angular velocity is 40 pi. So what is the equation connecting the velocity, initial velocity and final velocity? The velocity omega is equal to omega 0 plus alpha t. Isn't it? Omega is equal to omega 0 plus alpha t. Based on this, substitute 40 pi is equal to omega 0 plus time 7.5 seconds. So 7.5 alpha. So there are two equations. Omega 0 plus 5 alpha equal to 60 pi. Omega 0 plus 7.5 alpha is equal to 40 pi. So solve between 1 and 2. There are two equations. In this, omega 0 and alpha are the unknowns. Solve the simultaneous equations 1 and 2, and therefore we will get omega 0, the initial angular velocity, as 100 pi radian per second, and then you will get alpha, the angular acceleration. Alpha you will get the answer minus 8 pi. radian per second square. So it is negative, that means it is retardation. So we have got the answer to the first question. What is the value of retardation? So the value of the constant retardation is minus 8 pi radian per second square. Now coming to the second part of the question, the time when it comes to rest. The time when it comes to rest. So when it comes to rest, final velocity, final angular velocity, say omega 1, that is equal to 0. It starts with an initial angular velocity 100 pi radians per second, and when it comes to rest, its final velocity is equal to 0. Then you can make use of the similar equation. Omega 1 is equal to omega 0 plus alpha t. V is equal to u plus at. Similar to that. Final velocity equal to initial velocity plus angular acceleration dt. So omega 1 0. Omega 0 we have got from here 100 pi. Alpha is minus 8 pi into t. So we will get t is equal to, from this 8 pi t is equal to 100 pi. Pi gets cancelled, is equal to t is equal to 100 by 8 is equal to 12.5 seconds. So starting with a velocity of 100 pi radians per second, it comes to rest in 12.5 seconds. So that is answer to the second part of the question. So the second part is also answered. Now third, total revolutions till it comes to rest. When it comes to rest, how many number of revolutions does it make from the initial? So initial velocity we have 100 pi radians per second. So we have the relation connecting the velocities and displacement. Omega 1 square is equal to omega 0 square plus 2 alpha theta. V square is equal to u square plus 2as. You remember that equation? Similar to that, omega 1 square is equal to omega 0 square plus 2 alpha theta. Substituting here, omega 1 final velocity is 0. Omega 0 initial velocity is 100 pi plus 2 alpha minus 8 pi into theta. Okay, 2 alpha theta. So from that we will get theta is equal to, solving this we can get theta is equal to 1962.5 radians. Or the question is how many revolutions. So this is total displacement in radians divided by 2 pi. 1962.5 divided by 2 pi will give you the number of revolutions. 312.5 revolutions. So that is the answer to the second part of the question, the third question. Or even otherwise, this can also be found out in another way. We know the equation S is equal to ut plus half at square. Similar to that, theta is equal to omega 0 t plus half alpha t square. Based on this also we can use omega 0. Initial velocity is 100 pi. The time taken for coming to rest is 12.5. So 100 pi into 12.5 plus half alpha. Alpha was minus 8 pi. T square 12.5 square. S is equal to t plus half h square. Omega 0 t plus half alpha t square will also give you the result 1962.5 radians. So that divided by 2 pi will give you 312.5 revolutions. So either you can use this expression or make use of this expression. In both ways you can get the answer to the third part. So this question, I think it carries 7 marks. This question is 7 marks. So very simple, very direct application of the formula. So pass on to the next question. So read the next question. Question number 19b. Two blocks of masses 10 kilogram and 25 kilogram are attached to the two ends of a flexible rock. The rock passes over a pulley of diameter 500 millimeter. The mass of the pulley is 7.5 kilogram and its radius of gyration is 200 millimeter. Find the acceleration of the masses and the tension on either side of the rock. So let us see a pulley. This is a pulley. Its mass is given as 7.5 kilogram and there are two weights 25 and 10 attached to this pulley by means of a rock. You are asked to find out the acceleration of the system or the acceleration of these masses as well as the tension on either side of the rock. So let us see. Here we have to consider the three different motions separately. First one, the rotation of this pulley. The pulley rotates with some torque, and as a result of it rotates, this mass comes down. Weight, the higher mass is 25 kilogram. It comes down and this mass moves up. So these are the three things you have to know. The mass rotates, the pulley rotates with because of some torque, and this mass comes down and this mass goes up. The three things you have to know. Now let us analyze each system separately. Let us first consider the pulley. Consider the motion of the pulley. Consider the motion of the pulley. Okay. The torque, the net torque is the capacity to rotate. The torque is given by force is equal to mass into acceleration in linear system. But when it comes to rotation, instead of force, we use torque. And torque T is equal to I alpha. You have studied this. T is equal to I alpha, where I is called the mass moment of inertia. Mass moment of inertia of the pulley, that is given by I is equal to mk square. I is equal to mk square, where k is called the radius of gyration. So m is given, mass of the pulley is given to you 7.5 and the radius of gyration is given as 200 mm. So let us convert it into meter. So 200 millimeter means by 1000. So it will be 0.2 meter. So 0.2 square. It will give the mass moment of inertia of the pulley. I am not calculating it. Okay, let it be like. Now we have to see what is alpha. We don't know what is the angular acceleration of this pulley. Now data is given for that. Let us see whether we can find out the torque in the pulley in any other way. Consider this mass. Consider this mass 25 kilogram. The tension in the rock, it will be acting like this. Similarly, the tension in this rock. This is tension. Tension in the rock is, if you mark here, it is downward, pulls the pulley. At the mass end, it will be marked upward. So this is the tension in the rock on both sides. But since the pulley is not smooth, or since the pulley is having some definite torque, the tension in either side will be different. Tension on this side, say, if I mark it as T1, the tension in this rock on the other side will be different. T1 and T2 be the tension in the rocks on either sides. So whether we can write it in terms of this torque, whether we can write the torque in terms of this tensions. What about this force? Force into R. T1 into R will be the torque produced by this tension at the center. Load into perpendicular distance. So T1 into R from this side, T2 into R from the left side in the opposite direction. So the net torque can also be written as T1 R, it produces clockwise moment, minus T2 R. So the net torque can also be represented as T1R minus T2R. This is equal to I alpha. I is 7.5 into 0.2 square into alpha. Now, we can write it as T1 minus T2 into R is equal to 7.5 into 0.2 square into, what is this, alpha? Alpha is angular acceleration. Alpha is angular acceleration that can be written as the linear acceleration. If A is the linear acceleration of these masses, the linear acceleration divided by R. So instead of this alpha, we can substitute here A by R. So I'll get an expression T1 minus T2 is equal to 7.5 into 0.2 square into A divided by, this also comes to denominator, it becomes R square. R is given 250 millimeter, so it is 0.25 square. Substituting for the value of R, this R comes dividing by R, T1 minus T2, so it will be A by R square. So we'll get an expression T1 minus T2 is equal to 4.8A. So we consider the motion of the pulley. Net torque is equal to T1R minus T2R. Substituting for alpha is equal to A by R. You will get an expression for T1, T2 and A. The three things are connected together. Now, we have to consider the motion of A and B separately. Let us consider the motion of A first. Consider the motion of A. So considering block A, the block is moving up. So this is the direction of motion, up. The two forces acting on it are T2, the tension in the rock acting upward, the self-weight W, mass into acceleration due to gravity, M into G. These are the two external forces acting on it. Now I am going to apply the D'Alembert's principle, that is easy for analyzing the connected bodies examples. So this motion is up, so you apply an inertia force opposite to the direction of motion. So you apply inertia force opposite to the direction of motion, that is downwards, whose magnitude is mass into acceleration. So mass is 10, acceleration we don't know, A. So apply an inertia force, mass into acceleration opposite to the direction of motion. Now this system is in equilibrium. It is in dynamic equilibrium. So let us write down the equation. Writing the equation of motion, considering the vertical direction, T2 acting upwards, so T2. These two are acting downwards, T2 minus 9.8 into 10, 98 minus 10A is equal to 0. Say equation 2. T2 minus 98 minus 10A is equal to 0. Next, consider the motion of B. Consider B. Consider the motion of B. What are the forces acting on it? The tension in the rock T1, this is T1, is acting upward. The self-weight is acting downward. How much is the self-weight? 25 kilogram. So 25 into 9.8 Newton. The weight acting downwards. What about the direction of motion? That body is, this B is moving down. The motion is down. The body is moving downwards. So we have to apply the inertia force opposite to this. So apply the inertia force in the upward direction, which is equal to mass into acceleration. We apply the inertia force opposite to the direction of motion. Now this is in equilibrium. Write down the equation of equilibrium for this mass. Two forces, T1 plus MA. M is 25 T1 plus 25A minus 25 into 9.8 is equal to 0. That is equation 3. So consider the motion, opposite the direction of motion, apply the inertia force, consider the vertical equilibrium equation. Similarly, there also T1 plus 25A minus this is equal to 0. So from C, whether we can get anything, 2.25, here also A, T2, T1, A. Now how to solve this? From equation 2, from this I can write T2 is equal to 98 plus 10A. From 3, I can write T1 is equal to 25 into 9.8, it is 245 minus 25A. So from 2 and 3 I have written T2 and T1. Now let us find out T1 minus T2. T1 minus T2 will be 245 minus 98, 147 minus 25 minus 10, minus 35A. So it will be the fourth equation. We have got an equation T1 minus T2 is equal to 147 minus 35A. The equation 1, which we got from the motion of the pulley, considering the motion of the pulley, we have got an equation there. T1 minus T2 is equal to 4.8A, which was the first equation. So refer this 4 and 1. Here left hand side T1 minus T2. There also left hand side T1 minus T2. Right hand side 147 minus 35A. Right hand side 4.8A. So equate the right hand sides. Equate right hand side of 1 and 4. 4.8A is equal to 147 minus 35A. So when it comes to this side, we will get the value of A as 3.7 meter per second square. So we have got the first answer. The acceleration of the mass is 3.7 meter per second square. Next we have to find out the tension in the rocks. So for tension in the rocks, we can make use of this equation. T1, tension on this side, right side, tension of the rock attached to B, T1 is equal to 245 minus 25 into 3.7. Acceleration, we have got the value. So we will get it as 152.75 Newton. T2 is equal to 98 plus 10 into A. A is 3.7. So we will get the value 135 Newton. So we have got all the three answers. So such type of problems where the mass is attached to pulley and the mass of the pulley is also given, you have to consider the rotation of the mass. T is equal to I alpha, that is the net torque. Equate that net torque to T1 minus T2 into R. Then consider each mass separately, apply the D'Alembert's principle, write down the equation of equilibrium and solve for the unknowns. So let us pass on to the next question, question number 20A. A spring stretches by 0.015 meter when a 1.75 kilogram object is suspended from its end. How much mass should be attached to the spring so that its frequency of vibration is 3 Hz? So this is a repeated question in the previous year also, 2019 also the same question was asked for 7 marks. It's a fairly simple one. Here a spring stretches by 0.15 meter when a weight of 1.75 kilogram. So the kilogram is the unit of mass. So mass is 1.75. So the corresponding weight is 1.75 to 9.81 Newton. So when this much mass is attached, it undergoes a deformation of 0.015 meter. So we might once the term spring is used, the term stiffness should come to your mind. So the stiffness of the spring, this data, using this, we can calculate what is the stiffness of the spring. Stiffness of the spring is denoted by the letter K, and that is given by W by delta, load divided by deformation. The load required to produce 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter or 1 meter. Load required to produce unit deformation is called spring stiffness or spring constant, and it is calculated as W by delta. W is in Newton, this should be in meter, so that the unit of stiffness is Newton per meter. That is very, very important in dynamics. Whenever you deal with problems in structural dynamics or dynamics, the unit of spring constant should be always expressed in Newton per meter for computation of frequencies. So W by delta, let us see. W 1.75 into 9.81 divided by deformation 0.5. It is given in the question as meter, so it's okay, easy. Otherwise, we have to convert it into meter. This will work out to 114.5 Newton per meter. This is very, very important. This unit should be in always Newton per meter. So we have got the stiffness of the spring. Now we are given for the frequency to become 3 Hertz. It has to vibrate. It's set into vibration by pulling it. It is set into vibration. What amount of mass should be added to it so that we get a natural frequency of 3 Hertz. Frequency in Hertz is given. What is Hertz? Cycle per second. So 3 Hertz, we can convert it as the angular frequency unit. Angular frequency omega is equal to 1 cycle per second is equal to 2 pi radians. 1 cycle is 2 pi. So it is equal to, you have studied this, 2 pi f, or even remember 1 rotation or 1 cycle. This is 3 Hertz means 3 cycles per second. So the cycles has to be converted into radians. So I am making use of 3 into 2 pi. So 2 pi into 3. So many radian per second. So it is equal to 6 pi. The angular frequency. Now we have the relation connecting the frequency of vibration. We have studied it. Omega is equal to root of K by M, where K is the stiffness and M is the mass. So omega is 6 pi is equal to square root of K, 1144.5 divided by M. Or squaring both sides, we will get 36 pi square is equal to 1144.5 divided by M. Therefore, you will get M is equal to 3.22 kilogram. So when a mass of 3.22 kilogram is attached to the spring, it will vibrate at 3 cycles per second. So how much mass will be added? Already there is a mass of 1.75 kilogram is attached to it in order to set it into vibration. So the mass, additional mass to be added. So the additional mass to be added, or the extra mass to be added. The extra mass to be added is equal to 3.22 minus 1.75 is 1.47 kilogram. So this question of 7 marks is repeatedly asked without even changing the numerical values. It is asked into consecutive examinations 2019 December and 2021 January. So just remember this one equation, omega equal to root of K by M, where K should be in Newton per meter. That is the only thing to be remembered. Next, pass on to question number 20b. A particle has simple harmonic motion. Its maximum velocity is 6 meter per second and maximum acceleration is 12 meter per second square. Determine the angular velocity and amplitude. Also determine its velocity and acceleration when its displacement is half of the amplitude. So very simple question. Simple harmonic motion. The maximum velocity is 6 meter per second. What is the expression for maximum velocity? V is equal to R omega. where R is the amplitude. V is equal to R omega, and where R is the amplitude of motion. Amplitude is maximum displacement from the mean position. A particle executing simple harmonic motion, if this is the mean position, this is the radius vector, this is also the radius vector. So the maximum displacement from the mean position is called the amplitude. Now maximum acceleration, A max, acceleration is equal to omega squared r. It is given as 12. Maximum velocity is 6. Okay, so from these two equations, see whether we can find out the amplitude. So from this 6 omega is equal to r omega is equal to 6. Therefore, we will get from this, we will get r is equal to 6 by omega. Now substitute this r in this equation. Substitute here omega square into 6 by omega is equal to 12. Here omega squared r is equal to 12. So omega square into 6 by omega is equal to 12. Therefore we will get omega is equal to, this cancels, 12 by 6, 2 radians per second. So the angular velocity, the first answer we have got the angular velocity. No, here the angular velocity when half the amplitude. Okay, so now we got the angular velocity as 2 radians per second, and from here r is equal to 6 by omega, we will get amplitude r is equal to 6 by 2, 3 meter. So the amplitude of this motion is 3 meter. Now asked to find out the angular velocity and the acceleration when the displacement, that is when the particle is somewhere here, when the displacement x or y, when the particle is half of its amplitude. So when x is equal to the displacement x or y, whichever we can use, when x is equal to r by 2, that is when x is equal to 3 meter, amplitude is 3, so the x is equal to 3 by 2, 1.5 meter. When x is equal to 1.5 meter, find the velocity, angular velocity, omega. Is it angular velocity? You will find out the velocity and acceleration. It is not angular velocity. Asked to find out the velocity and acceleration, linear velocity and acceleration. We have the relation v is equal to omega into root of r square minus x square. So we will get omega is 2 root of r square minus x square. So it will be 5.196 meter per second. And the acceleration a is equal to omega square x. Omega is 2, so 2 square into x, so it is 6 meter per second square. So with that we finish module 4 and 5, the portions of dynamics, and part A questions of dynamics of this January 2021 examination. We see most of the students usually leave the portion on module 4 and 5, but they are relatively simple examples and less time consuming when compared to the problems of module 1 to 3. So please do study well module 4 and 5. Most of the topics in module 4 and 5 you have covered in your plus 2 classes, or even starting from the 8th standard. I think the simple harmonic motion etc. you have studied even in your school classes. Okay, wish you all the best. In the next video I will discuss the answers to the questions of dynamics of 2019 December examination, so that with these two question paper answering you will be able to answer the questions of the present exam also, I presume. Thank you.